What is up, everybody? Wow, it is like seeing an old friend. It's been a minute, man. Between me needing to get four wisdom teeth pulled and me trying to lock down one of the hardest working men in Detroit right now, man. It's been a couple weeks, but that's all right. We needed a couple weeks off. We had to get our bearings, you know what I'm saying, and get it together. I tell you what, I feel 1,000 times better. If you have any issues where you need to get those wisdom teeth out, make that movement happen, because I'm telling you, I feel like a champion right now, and I'm glad to be back. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. Welcome to Ride Detroit Weekly. I am your host, Jason Hall, also known as the Jason of all trades. Welcome back. Welcome back. Before I get into anything, I gotta do a couple things. One is I gotta right off rip, before we get too deep, I gotta remind you to do what? Of course, subscribe. Everybody was asking me, on top of all this crazy business, my birthday was yesterday, and everybody was asking me what I wanted for my birthday, and my dumbass didn't say more subscribers. I actually was like, oh, I don't really want anything. But it was actually the perfect opportunity for me to say, listen, if you want to give me something for my 21st birthday, go out and subscribe to the channel. All right, I don't need anything else. I just need to get 1,000 subscribers. So go out and grab all your friends and say, hey, for Jason's birthday, subscribe to the Ride Detroit YouTube channel. And we're also kicking off a little bit of do you ride with Ride Detroit? We've been pushing a campaign. It's warmer outside. If you are out riding your bike around Detroit, snap a photo, hashtag it, ride with Ride Detroit. And so we can see what you're doing out there and connect, because we want to stay connected to everybody that's out there riding these bikes, because it's that time of year. I'm excited for that. I got to thank Dante LaSalle. Dante LaSalle was my last guest. Dante came on and we kicked it strong about coming up in the hip hop scene in the 90s in Detroit, which is, if you want to argue with me, I feel the relevant phase of hip hop really went down in that time. And maybe with my next guest, I know he's a philosopher on things, so he might want to kick it with me on that too. But we talked about hip hop at that time. We talked about, just the scene and everybody who's contributed to it, and just really told some good stories, man, some really feel good stuff. So go check out episode 20 of Ride Detroit Weekly, which lives on the Ride Detroit YouTube channel, of course. Now, let us get into it, because my next guest, like I said, I knew there was a reason, man, and within 2 minutes, I was like, I knew I booked him for like kicking it with me on obviously suits and how I need to get my stuff together. But within minutes, the layers of this are going to go deep. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Nelson T. Sanders Jr., man, what is happening, my brother?
Man, appreciate you for having me on, man. You a legend.
No,
I'm
stop that,
honored that you
man.
that no, for real, you are a legend, man. You did some phenomenal things in the city, man. Groundbreaking stuff. Definitely inspiration for me. I never told you that, but seriously, for real, you've done some
Thank you.
cool things, man.
Thank you,
Yeah.
brother. Thank you, man. I'm not me without everybody else who's contributed to this whole thing, man. And you know how that works, man. You started a business in
Mm-hmm.
Detroit, and you know, without the support of everybody and the city and people believing in you, you
Right.
won't be able to achieve these things. So thank you for that, man.
100%.
But it's not
100%.
about
Yeah.
it's not about me. We talking about you, man, because like I said, man, so you are right now, I would call the king of suits right now. Like, I don't want to put it on such a basic level, you know what I mean? But you are doing some
No, I
things.
mean, okay.
You put it on, listen, I knew about suits, and everybody says a man should have a suit, everybody should have a nice suit. But I really
Yeah.
didn't start
Yeah.
really paying
Yeah.
attention to fashion and what I looked like, and as far as my image, until I really started paying attention to what you were talking about. Up until then, I just knew you
Really?
had to
Okay.
have because I just knew you had to have a suit for a formal situation. I didn't
Right.
understand
Right.
what it
Right.
meant to have it represent who you are as a person. I just always thought a black
Yeah,
suit went with
yeah,
this, a blue suit went with this.
yeah.
So before we get
Hmm.
into the particulars of all that, let's talk about the beginning, man. Because when I said let's talk about the
Mm.
beginning, we didn't talk about fashion. We started talking about your real beginning. So where did you start?
And I like that because I don't like the traditional. Oh, hey, where are you? This felt even before, like you said, before we started recording, it was just a natural transition, and we just kicking it, which I really like this style of communicating because it's real. But what were you gonna ask me?
We're talking, so we started with football. Like, so before we
We
got into
did, we
fashion,
did.
so we started with football,
That's the
which,
real beginning, yeah.
so let them know about that, because you didn't just play football, you played football. Like, it's not like you like, I like
Yeah, I
football and I
mean,
played it.
yeah. So like, I mean, I wasn't like all state or anything like that. I think all city, but growing up in the city, like I said earlier, you grow up playing football, basketball. Unlike today, it's about the kids on the video game all day. When I was, in middle school, high school, summertime, we weren't in the house. We were outside either playing, you know, outside of basketball and football. You running around the neighborhood playing hide go seek, riding your bike, just being outside. So anyway, um, I got pretty decent at basketball and football. And I went to one of the top, I would say, schools in the city for football, which is King, Detroit King. And our basketball team was pretty decent as well. And I played both sports. And the only thing that sucked is everybody was good on the team. You know what I mean? So I was like, I was pretty decent, but I wasn't like the standout guy. You know what I mean? But anyway, I say all that to say that a lot of people that meet me now in my like, later ish years, they see me as the suit guy. They don't know like, okay, this guy, he's just a cat from the city that wears suits now and enjoys that. But that's what I was about in my earlier years. And yeah, man, I really enjoyed it. But then as I got out of high school, and like I was telling you earlier, my ACT wasn't high enough to get to the university that I was supposed to go to, and I ended up in Grand Rapids at a community college playing football. And things to me got a little political, and I started to like my love for playing kind of diminished a little, and life kind of happened. But I was still working in retail, and I finished up. Actually, I left Grand Rapids and I started going to Wayne State. I never finished at Wayne State, by the way. Um, and my love for fashion, but I would say more so style, really started to like skyrocket it out as I was at Wayne State, because I spent the span of, let's say, 10 years at Somerset various stores. Um, Going back to our previous conversation off air, one of the 2005, I was at Express. You know what I mean? And that's kind of, it's like I make fun of like I shouldn't say that, but I worked at Express with Sebastian from Social Club. Man, it's just funny thinking about that now. Here we are, and I've kept contact with him. He went to Wayne State as well, and obviously he's doing really positive things with the Social Club grooming company. I lost my train of thought, but yeah, I worked at Somerset for about 10 years, number store, but I started working at more higher end shops as the years went on. And naturally my knowledge for clothing, my personal style, my network of people, and my personal like Nelson brand. Like I feel like I walk around downtown and right up, people, oh, that's the guy with the suit, Dandy, So even outside of the name Dandy, before that it was Nelson. Like, oh yeah, the guy that wears suits all the time, or da 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 da. Like I started to, develop a kind of brand before there was my own brand. So yeah.
So when you're working at, Express, when did you start to, okay, so it sounds like you doing more retail, obviously at that age. When did you start to say, all right, I'm gonna start focusing more on, styling, and the retail's
Yeah.
been a great place to jump off of. When and how did you even start to, navigate that path?
You know what? I think it's a accumulation of things, man. Like I always say this anytime I'm doing any type of interview or whatever, because it's the truth. Like a lot of things, the foundation of it all, for sure, started with my pops. He was your prototype, classic Detroit city slicker. I'm gonna call it. Even going to the grocery store, he got the Gators on, cashmere sweater, Henry the Hatter hat, his watch on, and that's what I was used to just seeing that growing up. Even some of my uncles and whatnot, and as a kid, you see it's like some of the stuff he would teach me. like, okay, how to shine your shoes. Go to Henry the Hatter to get your first hat, man. You gotta have this watch, these suits in the closet. I'm in high school, 10th grade, like, okay, cool. Like, but it wasn't until maybe 18, 19, you start going out on dates. You becoming a man, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh shit, like, oh, that makes sense. It's like, yeah, like I can't wear a white tee to a fine restaurant with a woman, you know what I'm saying? You could, but that's kind of how I wanted to be, and I always had like a liking for the aesthetic of Detroit, and I mean more so the mindset of dressing back when he was younger than me. Right now, like he grew up on the west side, Linwood, like real city cat, but and they weren't poor, but they didn't like have money for real. But he would say stuff like, "Man, like you come downtown, even today, like Castor grew up on the west side. You coming downtown is a field trip. Oh, we
Yep.
going downtown. We about to ride up Jefferson. We gonna hit Belle Isle. Da, da, da. So, but I grew up like East Side down. Real East Side guys will say I grew up downtown because I grew up right down the street from King, right on Lafayette, right there.
Okay.
But where was I going with that? He would be like, "Man, you come downtown on a Friday. If you was a kid and you were walking around here with jeans on, you were looked at as a poor kid. Like they wore gabardine slacks, sweat in high school. He went to Northwestern, get their hair did. But granted, times have changed. But I always admired how serious they took their aesthetic and how they dress. They're not wearing hoodies and stuff like that. So I always wanted to, at some point, on my own, bring that kind of essence of that mindset and dressing back in my own way. We got the uncle at the picnic with all pink on, with the hat. It's funny, but I also appreciate some of
Right.
that, like
Mm-hmm.
that boldness that, hey, I'm here. I don't care. This is me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I just try to take little bits of that uncle, the auntie, my dad, people I grew up around, Somerset, people like you, and I just kind of put it all together and like, okay, I'm a just put it together and refine it a little bit more, and that's where Dandy kind of came about. You know what I'm saying?
Did you ever at any time feel like I might need to get a little bit more formal education into what I'm going into?
Mm,
Or was it like,
100%, hundred
yeah?
percent. No, no, 100%. Yeah. So I'm just all off of just instinct and like, oh, this is dope. I'm doing it. Granted, I was never the best student, unfortunately. I was always, I think I'm smart enough to like, I was smart enough to for sure get by, but I didn't like love school and like love. I mean, I want to be smart in the things I want to be smart about. I guess if that makes sense. Like, I'm not the
Absolutely.
guy reading 50 books. I'm just being real with you. But like, if I see a book about tailoring or I like classic cars or food, I'm like, oh, okay, that's dope. All right, man. Yep, yep. My man's.
It's all good, baby.
Um, I feel bad because I haven't seen him in a long time. Um, where was I going with that? You asked me, oh, formal
Yeah.
teaching. So in this industry, definitely as what I found out, I'm gonna go back to Somerset. So one of my favorite brands is Ralph Lauren, right? I don't know how long we got, but I can talk for a minute on because it's super easy to talk with you. I feel like I worked at a few stores, right? Working on at that time, working on the south side of Somerset was like, oh, you made it. Like, oh, you over there with Louis Vuitton,
Right,
which was a
right.
crazy, like, now thinking about it, it's like, man, that don't mean nothing. Because them people are in there thinking they really in the Louis Vuitton world when you making $15 an hour, 3% commission, and barely making the Somerset. I'm speaking about myself on a quarter tank of gas, and because when you go to these stores and you work for these luxury brands, they teach you to speak the language, right? But you're admiring the customers coming in there. You can't afford this stuff. You just work there. So I say all that to say I'm all over the place right now, but I attempted to I applied for to work at Ralph Lauren a few times. They weren't taking me. I'm like, I'm fly, man. Like, I'm coming in here. I know what I'm doing. Like, I'm looking around. Like, why y'all not hiring me? So like anything, it's kind of political. But I eventually got in that store and I worked there. That was the last store I worked at Somerset. Um, but going back to your question, once you start selling higher price point items and you're selling $2,000 suits and $400 sweaters, you have to be able to articulate and speak on these things, just like you're selling those nice bikes and their motors on them and stuff. Like, people don't know anything. So you come in there, I have to be able to. So that started to really, I'm like, okay, I got to get up on my knowledge of fabrics and textures and colors and fits and all this type of stuff, right? So I think as I started to work at more higher end shops, and some of the managers I have over years have given me tools that I needed to, now make my own. And I'm fluent with, speaking on mostly anything when it comes to definitely specifically like tailored clothing, suits and whatnot. Yeah.
So when did you when did you start thinking, all right, I don't really want to work for Ralph Lauren. Now it's time to. When did the bug start going in your ear that it's time to do my thing? I mean, you're from
Um,
Detroit. First of all, you're from Detroit, and that's ingrained in us. I think that's just a thing we do. We tend to
what's ingrained in the stuff?
doing our own thing, starting our own business. Like we tend to
For sure.
watch,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then we say, you know what, we can do our thing better. You know what I mean? Even if it's not better, we can do our own thing. When did you start thinking that it's time for me to get out and really show the
To
world
be
me?
to be 100, yeah. To be 100 with you, man. I was getting older. I wasn't making no money, but I was buying clothes, sneaking them in the house, man, because it was like I would come home, my girl, like, what are you doing? Like, you getting 60% off of stuff, and I'm putting all my money back into the store, and I'm barely making any money. And it's like something got to change. So for a minute, like I tried to move up in management. I even had the thought of, because if you work at these stores in New York, Chicago, at like their flagship stores, you have a better opportunity to run into the right person that can get you in the right place. You feel me? So in Michigan, we weren't one of the top stores. So it was very like, I'm not for kissing butts and all that. So I just got a point where I was frustrated. Like, I just got to get out of here, man. This is not, I've been in here forever. And what kind of happened after that? Oh, I don't know if you remember this store, man, but Shinola had a sister company called Willie's.
Yep.
You remember?
Oh
It
yeah.
was now it's Filson right there.
Yep.
Not Will's Leather, but Willie's.
Willie's. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I was on the first like team that opened that store out
Okay.
of once I left Somerset. Yeah. And it was just refreshing being back in the city working, man. All the people were super creative and fun. But at the same time, it was just like a semi-lateral move because again, I'm just a sales guy working for a big brand. It was dope that I was working for a cooler company that was local and da 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 da. But super creative, talented team, but we weren't really being challenged. And no shade to anybody, but I'm just kicking it with you real. We weren't being pushed or challenged. So eventually, one by one, people started to kind of leave and do their own thing. And I was actually poached from Willie's into the other suit company I had worked for. Um, and the rest is kind of history from there. Yeah.
You remember the first suit you made? That you How about not even the first suit you made, the first one you felt comfortable enough to go out? Did you make it for yourself?
Well, it broke up a little bit. Say that again.
So do you remember the first suit you ever made that you felt comfortable enough to go either wear out in public or have someone wear out in public? Do you remember that first suit?
So I do want to be transparent about this because some people don't know. Some people think I'm a tailor, which
Right.
that is not true.
Okay.
I don't actually make the clothes. I I formulate the fit by taking the measurements and I walk through designing. So you can call me I think the most closest proper term would be a clothier. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay.
So I do remember the first time I was nervous. There was a guy getting married, and I'm like, I'm like 3 guys into it. I'm not super comfortable yet. And like, it's his wedding day. He's coming to us, and the owners of this company just kind of gave me the reins, like, all right, bro, like, figure it out, kind of. So I'm in there, I'm in the office by myself. Guy comes in, and I'm like, I can't show him that I'm like nervous, but I fit him up. We figured out what fabric he needed. We designed it, got it going. It came back and it was smooth, bro. It was sweet. So I do remember that. Unfortunately I don't remember the first suit I like helped design and measure on my own. I never even thought about that, but that one kind of stuck out when you asked me that. I'm like, oh man, like I'm going through the details like 6 times. Like, all right, this is there, this the date, this the initials. I'm like, because you don't want to mess up anybody's wedding. You know what I'm saying? So,
Hey,
um,
that suit would
that
have lived
popped in my
on.
head.
That suit lives on forever in photos, man. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure it's right.
Right,
You know what I mean? So
right,
we talking
right.
about now we're gonna skip and come back a little bit because we're talking about
Okay.
weddings, man. And so what are you got a thing going on right now that I didn't even wrap my mind around. So I'm thinking one person comes in and they see you and they get fit and then but you are
Yeah,
working on a project right now that is a wedding that is I didn't even talk to me about it.
yeah, man. I very fortunate, man. So I would say, man, it's 6 months ago now. I met a guy here at the store. Saturday, even though now, fortunately, that's a bonus of me having an opportunity to be in Detroit is the New Black in the heart of downtown. Because, granted, most of my appointments are just appointment based. I'm not just having walk-ins like, oh, let me drop 15 on the suit. You know what I mean? But if I'm present, people are able to see me and speak to me on the weekend. So I try to be here as much as I can, like on a Saturday afternoon. So anyway, long story short, this couple comes into the store. They're just walking around. The guy who's getting married is from here, and his fiance is from Santa Rosa, California. And his fiance sees me like, "Oh, hey, honey, let's check this guy out." Da, 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 da. And to be 100 with you, I thought they were just being nice and like, "Oh, we're getting married, and we might contact you, for our wedding." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." Gave him my card. That about 3 months go past. I get an email from him. I'm like, he's like, "Hey, man," and the email said more than this, but the gist of it was, "Hey, we checked out your Instagram, your website, everything looks great. We want to support, local Detroit, and how you feel about coming out to California to fit like most of the wedding party?" I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm just like, when I saw 14 guys, I'm like, whatever you need, bro. So he was like, okay, I can get you out here, get you a rental car, get you set up right downtown, and that was it, man. So it was cool to get. I never been to Northern California, wine country. It was super chill, relaxed. Granted, most of the things right downtown, like half of the businesses and bars were kind of still closed, but a good amount of them were open. And it's California, so we could sit outside and have a drink, eat, whatever. And yeah, man, that was a good time. My family came out there with me because my sister-in-law is in Eureka, which is a little further north, like an hour and a half north of Santa Rosa. That she had a virtual baby shower. It's crazy times, right? So my wife and my daughter stayed one night in Santa Rosa, and they drove up the next morning, and they're still out there. So I've been hanging through the city like I'm 25 again while they're while they
so
yeah. So
so wow. So you did you this is a obvious question because there's no way you could have seen this. Did you ever
oh
say
no, no,
to
no.
myself, one day I'm gonna be, was this part of the plan to be like sort of the clothier to like parties, or were you just like, I'm gonna let this journey take me where it takes me?
I'm gonna let this journey take me where it takes. I mean, I see myself as the clothing, like as the homegrown clothier of the city, man. Because in my eyes, definitely before the pandemic happened, I mean, you be down here on the weekend, it was moving. Like you almost felt like. Well, I've been in my Detroit my whole life, and it started to feel definitely, especially where I'm exactly located with the Samarella right here. You got different, bigger name stores around here. People are shopping, they're eating, they're walking around with shopping bags. Like I've never seen that in Detroit. So I say that to say that there's definitely going to be bigger name suit brands that come to Detroit eventually. I would assume. And where I'm going to win is, you know, um, I don't want to keep saying I'm hungry, but I am born and raised. So
Mhm.
with that, I think I understand the culture, the posts, what people. I can speak to that uncle at the picnic, but I can also speak to the cast that's the Quicken Loans guy or you know what I mean, the guy from Birmingham. I'm more in tune and I'm building real relationships with
Right,
people.
right.
After a fitting, we can go. I know, okay, I didn't read this guy out. He probably want to go over to such and such to have some food or a drink or something after the appointment. I'm really getting to know people versus, oh, I just want to get you in a suit and get you out the door and all. So in a sense, like people think about Henry the Hatter. I want eventually Dandy to have a name. That's a big goal, but if you're in LA, hey, I want to go check out Dandy in Detroit. You know what I mean? Like that's where you go get all your gentleman dandy needs or women. So yeah.
Nah, that's what's up. That's what's up. So have do you have anybody that you've worked with that so far has been like that client that was amazing? Like have you, you know what I mean? Who's been your most high profile client? Can we talk about that?
Okay. If we say high profile, I haven't had a lot, unfortunately, but and this guy is super chill and cool and down to earth, man. And it's an interesting story how I met him, which we could talk about if you want. But
Yeah.
Langston Galloway, he played for the Pistons.
Mhm.
Now he's with Phoenix, and they're in fucking playoff. They're like going crazy. But Langston, man, super chill, down to earth, just real guy, man. I don't know if you met him before.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, he cool, man. He cool. And I was kind of, I mean, he didn't know. I was kind of nervous fitting him because he's like maybe like the same height as me, but like his arms are longer, his shoulders are real broad, and he has no waist. So it was, and he likes his stuff real. He likes it slim. But first take, we knocked it out the park, and it was money. So I did a couple suits for him, man. Him and his wife, Sabrina, man, really good people.
So you do men's and women's.
I recently pulled back on the women's because I don't have all the proper tools. I'll say tools I need to fit every body type of a woman. So I'll explain a little bit. So back to me. So there's a few makes of suits, right? You have your off the rack, ready to wear, and then you have pretty much what I'm doing, like a made to measure, and then you have true bespoke, like meaning bespoke. Everything is done in house. The measuring, the cutting of the fabric, the assembly of the suit. Every component is done. Going back to me not being a tailor, I like I explained before, I just take the measurements and design it. Essentially, I have an app where I input all of these measurements and tools to formulate a pattern for a person. So I have for lack of better terms, a range of suits from really small to really big to accommodate any cat that walks in. And so I put you in a jacket and a trouser that's closest to your body type, and then I just pick it apart top to bottom from the shoulder, armhole height, button point, all that stuff. But I don't have a set of women's try-ons, so I don't want to be what's the word? exclusive to just women who are shaped straight up and down because it's easy for me to fit them. But you got hips and curves. It's a little bit more difficult because I don't have a woman's pattern in house right now. But I eventually will. So I didn't want to, exclude, the curvy girl. So I gotta, if I can't do it, I gotta just pause until I can do all the women.
No, that's what's
Yeah.
up.
So that's where I'm at right now.
Now recognizing that you don't want to do something half-assed, you got to do it right. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're talking
Yeah.
about the brand, man. And so the brand is popping
Yeah.
right now. Like I said, you were just in California. What's going on? What do you got coming up in the future, man? You know what I'm saying? Like I know, like I was trying to get a hold of you for a couple weeks. I know. So if I
That
want to
was my
get,
fault, man. I wasn't planning. Right.
nah, man, you was out doing business. So if I wanted
Yeah.
to, if somebody wants to make an appointment with you, how would we go about doing that?
Yeah, you can go to the website. I'm kind of still figuring the website out because I look at it like I'm a customer, and like even what we're talking about now, the book appointment tab is hidden, and the verbiage on there needs to be a little rearranged. But you can go to the website, dandydetroit.com. You can book straight from my Instagram. I believe I have on my Dandy Facebook page. I'm terrible at checking that Facebook, but you can book from there, or just hit me up, man. Like I'm super casual. Like you can shoot me a DM message. Everybody's attainable these days,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So all of those places you can book. Yeah.
So last couple questions. If I'm going out like I talked earlier and I touched on this, I always thought, black suit, formal, blue suit, work. If I'm starting, to amass a collection of suits, where do I start? Is there a basic I should have,
Yeah.
or do we just dive in and just start doing custom?
I think there's some uh how I want to say this blueprint to that, as
Mm-hmm.
far as what suit you should have, which I think there's some substance behind that, and it makes sense. But I kind of base it off, in addition to that, like the person's personality and their own personal. When I see somebody, it's like, okay, well, I know he wouldn't probably be comfortable with this, but I can probably push him to this, or because I mean, the name of my company is Dandy. I don't want to put out a whole bunch of navy and gray suits, right?
Right,
But at
right,
the
right.
same time, I understand if you don't have that foundation set, you can't just jump into a pink suit and that's your go-to. Nah. So I think if you're starting fresh, any type of navy or any shade of like blue or mid to charcoal gray I think, is the way to start. And then you just kind of build, upon there, your window pane or a pinstripe but my personal style, I like to call it, I'm traditional with like some 70 inspiration in addition with some Southern Italian inspiration with Detroit on top. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always like, man, we should. Okay, you like the Navy, but what about this? You know what I'm saying? It's because I want to set myself apart. If you're wearing my brand inside your suit, I'm cool with getting you in a Navy suit, but I'm more excited about getting you in some fresh.
What's the most exciting event that when somebody comes in and they say, I need a suit, what's the event that goes down that gets you hyped? That you're like, yeah, this is gonna be the one.
If somebody tells me that they're going to some type of event,
Yeah, what's the one
what
that you are like, whoa, I need to get? Have you had that yet? Because you do weddings, obviously, but has somebody come up and be like, yo, I'm going to the
yeah,
Grammys.
and
I need a suit.
so to be honest with you, weddings are not that fun as far as just the fabric because it's typically something semi basic. Either if they're doing a formal wedding, it's a tuxedo, which is either going to be black or a midnight navy. But some cats have a little fun. They may do a deep burgundy or a really deep green. But to answer your question, I would say it had to be something like some type of black tie event, or like you said, the Grammys. That'd be crazy. It got to be something where a lot of people. I like to just be fancy, but like I don't know if I should say that. I like to go in events that are formal and you're supposed to be like this. but I like to come in there like, you know what I'm saying? Different. Like I'm not gonna go to a black tie with a well, I have, but now as I'm kind of getting more and more confident in my own world, I'm gonna throw a twist on there where if it's a lot of people that's gonna see me and we dressing up, oh, I'm coming. Like, so if there's a customer that's doing that, whether it be the auto show or some type of Biggie Ward event or his 40th birthday party, where you know what I'm saying, like, okay, we going there. You know what I mean? Um, yeah.
Have you made a suit for yourself where you had an event coming up where you were just like, I'm just gonna push the envelope today. I'm just gonna do my
I'm
thing.
doing that currently, man. We've been in this pandemic and there hasn't been a lot to do. But I think there's a couple events coming up, and the next time I show up, I'm going crazy. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
time, baby. It's
yeah.
time. You know, like you said, we've been inside a long
Because
time,
people
man.
itching to get out. People itching like so, and I am as well. You know what I'm saying? So it might be like the Roaring Twenties again, man. People are looking to like get out there, and hopefully we can all get protected. And I don't know where you stand on that because I meet some crazy people, man. I
I work at a
I
bike
meet some
shop in
interest.
Detroit, man. Come on, man. You know, I'm
Yeah,
on the corner of MLK
yeah.
and Woodward, man. We call it the corner, man.
Okay,
The
yeah,
stuff the
yeah,
people I deal
yeah.
with and the stuff I see, trust me, I'm there with you, bro. I'm vaccinated, so
So
I'm that guy. I'm taking
sweet,
care
sweet.
of mine.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So hopefully, man, everybody do their part, and we can get back out here and get back to some type of normalcy. But yeah, I can't wait, man.
That's what's up, brother. So
Yeah,
you prefer people just to reach out to you, DM you. I'm gonna talk to you about other stuff, man. We got to get your website up to par, man. I'm that guy. We got to get all this stuff zoned in
all right, all right,
because
all
I
right,
got a
all right.
feeling, man. 2021 is gonna be an epic year. You know what I mean? We've been, like you
I
said,
hope
we've been
so.
bottled up, man, and it's time for us to show our thing, man. So, any parting
I
words
gotta come
before I
back.
let
I
you
gotta
go,
come by
bro?
the store too, man.
Yeah,
No, man.
man. I'm here every day.
I sincerely appreciate you for reaching out to me on this, man, and put me on this platform. This is what it's all about, man. Growing, So I love it, and it was super easy to talk to you, so that was dope.
No, man, we
But yeah,
homies,
man.
man. You know,
Yeah,
we get
yeah.
it's not like
And,
I'm interviewing somebody I don't know. I kind of hedge
and
my
we and
bets
we
that way.
neighbors too.
You know what I'm saying?
I
I didn't
walk
want to
past.
talk about it because you know what I'm saying. Like I didn't want to put up with. But yeah, man, that's when my dog goes nuts. I know most of the time it's probably you walking by, man. You know what
I'm
I'm
walking
saying?
past. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, man. I love having
yeah.
you as a neighbor, bro. When this is all said and done, let's get together and let's go out and have you know what I mean, something to drink and something to eat, man, and talk about the future and how we can work
Cool,
together, man.
cool.
I got this
Yeah,
week coming up with the Pistons, man. If we can work some way, we can work Dandy in. I'm gonna hit you up when we get out of this, cause we gotta figure out
cool,
how
cool.
we can, cause we working. I'm working with Rick Williams, and we doing some things. And we trying to get some marketing, but we gonna work together, man. I'm gonna hit you up.
Sounds like a bet.
All right, my brother. Thank you for coming on
All right,
today. I'm gonna
Jason.
holler at you in a minute,
All
ladies
right,
and
man.
gentlemen.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Nelson T. Sanders Jr., man. That I'm so glad that I finally got to catch up with him because, years ago, I always think I'm like doing some, stuff that's never been heard of. So one day I actually was like really into like the dandy culture. So I said to myself, I'm gonna start a ride, called the Dandy Ride. And I was like, I'm gonna reach out to Nelson. And as soon as I reached out to him, he was like, man, I had already been thinking about that. So like we're on the same page about everything, including Detroit, man. And I'm glad I finally got to showcase him and show him to everybody. How fitting that it would be. Once again, we're gonna take a break, man. We're gonna take a little break, little backstory on this, not to keep you as we started Ride Detroit Weekly because really it was cold outside and we wanted to connect and we wanted to really showcase things that we cared about and we loved. And this has given us a great platform. But we don't want to lose sight of the fact that we're outdoors people. We're a bike crew. We're a bike company. So we're going to shift gears and we're going to leave the whole studio kind of behind for a little while. And we're going to get out on bikes and we're going to really put more effort into the e-bike experience. I got a pizza show that I'm working on and all kinds of stuff, but we're going to get out of the studio. So we definitely want to continue to thank Electric Avenue Bikes for letting us use the space. We love it. And I mean, don't think this is goodbye. Don't think this is, well, we'll be back here. But for season 2, right? For season 2, we'll be back here. But for right now, stay tuned to the channel. Keep subscribing. Keep liking and commenting. We are working on a new e-bike experience with a couple of Turn bikes right now. And if you don't know anything about Turn, come by the shop. They make great cargo bikes. And they're not just cargo bikes, but bikes that people can fit on. I mean, these things are amazing. I actually ride one personally. It's not a commercial. I'm just telling you what we're doing right now. Although if Turn is watching right now, I would love to talk to somebody. But with that being said, we are out of here for right now. Let me thank my sponsors. Before I get into that, so I definitely want to thank Loomis Helmets. These, once again, they're not going away, man. They're just going with us to the next phase. So if you look in any video that I'm in, if you notice the helmet that I'm wearing, it will be the one that is behind me. So thank you to Loomis Helmet for keeping me safe and being able to advertise for Ride Detroit Weekly on the back of my helmet, if you can see it back there. 77 programmable patterns. Griffin Claw Brewing, gotta give a shout out to them. They have been supporting since day one, and they are still down. They are my family. Kyle, everybody over there, go show them some love. Make sure you check out all their seasonal brews. I know they got a ton of them coming up for summer, and that's kind of where they specialize. So Griffin Claw Brewing, go check them out. Electric Avenue Bikes, can't give them enough love. Michael Kenny, Anthony Alpha, myself. I don't want to thank myself, but everybody at the Electric Avenue Bikes, we work hard. So come by and check us out. Wingman Water, they keep us hydrated on the water tip. Tab Beverages for being the creators of the Purple Power Up, which we're still working on the name. I've been saying that for a month, and I'm just gonna say whatever Alpha wants to call it, we're gonna call it after this one. I'm through with that. Through with it. Pistons, man, we have I was gonna say a week, but we are going for 2 weeks. We are doing what is called the Pistons Summer Series Fit Ride Series. 2 weeks of bicycle programming. I mean, we got Phil Simpson doing a art ride where he's gonna join us and actually talk about his art. You'll be able to book that. We're partnering up with Mogo, so you'll be able to log miles. We're gonna have virtual rides. The whole 2 weeks, you'll be able to log your miles through Kilter. And then at the end of that, we're giving away a custom helmet and a custom bike. Man, we got Rick Williams working on that. It's just too much going on. And to top it off, the Filmed by Bike National Film Festival is coming back to Detroit, and we will be showing it here on June 19th. All right, I don't have a venue yet, but I got one that I'm working on, and I will definitely be putting one out so you can see what that is. But that is the information about the Pistons Fit. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Once again, we're not out. We're just transforming, all right? I want to say we'll have something for you next week, but then I don't want to pigeonhole us into having something to have for you next week. So should I say it? Nah, we're going to have something for you next week. We have something for you next week. I'm doing it. I love y'all. Thanks for joining me on Ride Detroit Weekly. See you guys soon.